Okay, this is lecture part 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many fingers am I holding? Can you tell? That's right. Now, I got a hat on in this video. Notice the curved rim like we did my day. No one had a flat rim. That was for nerds. We all had curved rims. Now, we're ready to discuss leak detection methods. What is that, you say? The method for leak detecting. Your book says on page 194, the most basic method to finding a leak is to listen for a leak. If you can hear the leak, you'll know where the leak's at. When a large leak is large enough to be heard, you can find it. You can wet your hand, put it on there like, oh, ooh, look, the wind's blowing this way. That's how you do that. It also says, next we'll have the halide leak detector. Now, I'm not really into halide leak detectors. I don't really care for a halide leak detector. And look what it says. It's capable of detecting small amounts to 1 ounce per year. Powered by propane and acetylene gas, it creates a draft that draws a small sample into the vicinity of the tube. A sample of refrigerant passes over a glowing copper element and causes the flame to change color. Change in flame color can be viewed when there is a little light. The detector is not very efficient in sunlight. So what they're saying is the chlorine in the refrigerant, so you need an CFC or an HFC, but the chlorine in it burns. So you walk around with a flame looking for the refrigerant leak, and you burn the refrigerant and you get the chlorine. I've never used one of those. I've never even seen one. They got a picture of one in your book right here on that page right there. So you might want to look at that. I don't know of anybody who uses those or where they use them, especially since they burn chlorine and refrigerant doesn't have chlorine in it anymore. So why would you even use that? Now, the ultrasonic leak detector is just that, sonic. You will have earphones, a microphone, and an amplification system to listen. So you put the headphones on and you move this thing around. And when you find a leak, it lets out a high-pitched sound from the leak. That's what you hear, and you know where the leak is. Okay, so it's like listening, but you put bigger ears on, like elephant-sized ears. Now, these detectors are very good in a place where there's a lot of refrigerant in the air. The next one's ultraviolet, better known as UV. Ultraviolet. UV. That's a leak detector. Your book says on page 195, since you're taking notes, it's a fluorescent leak which works by a special dye. The dye mixes with the oil, circles around the system, and you find it with a black light. Now, I will tell you this. I don't really care for dyes. They're messy. They get all over the place. They work, but they can be a problem. Look what it says. Saturated dye can seep out wherever there's a leak escaping. It's normally charged into a system with a factory charged refrigerant cylinder. Okay, so they have a little cylinder. Now, if you look in your book on this page right here, you'll see those little cylinders. When you walk into a supply house, whatever, I don't know if you walk fast or not. and you go in the supply house and you see these little cartridges, how do you know which one to get? Because these cartridges don't say 410A, R22, or whatever. They say something else, don't they? They go by the kind of oil that's in the system. They're compatible with certain kinds of oil. So the cartridge will tell you which type of oil and system that'll work in. If you go through your book, you got charts in there. You could Google it, Yahoo, whatever that thing's called, all that stuff. You can do that and try to find it. Bing it, duck it, all that stuff. Now, you'll see compatibility, you'll see oils that go with whatever refrigerants. Now, next week you got a course on system charging, a week on refrigerant oils, which these 3 weeks I'll go with GP exam. Now look what it says. Watch out with these dyes. They have to be approved because under certain warranty conditions, you void the warranty of the system. If they have a compressor and it goes out, guess what? You have no more warranty because you put dye in it. That's not good. You don't want to void people's warranties because you're putting dye in the system. There's 2 things that go in the system. What are they? Would you say over there, refrigerant? Would you say, oil? That's right. Refrigerant and oil. There shouldn't be anything else in the system. That's it. And that voids warranties. Now they have these videos on the MCC that you can watch to see these things. Now the last one is the electronic leak detector. Kind of like the one you get with your grad kit. Check this out. This will be, you'll see this written down somewhere again, probably on Friday morning. It detects leaks as low as 1/4 ounce per year. That's pretty small. Only a 1/4 ounce per year? Man, is that small. When there's a lot of refrigerant in the air, electronic detectors may have a hard time locating where to start unless you have a feature that allows you to correct it. Check this out. The sensitivity of a leak detector can be its greatest liability or its greatest asset. Its greatest asset or its greatest liability. Its ability to not lie. What am I talking about? And it takes technicians to understand them. The greatest leak detector I ever had in my life, I called it the Hound Dog. You used it for years in the field. It was called the HT-10. And boy, can that little sucker find a leak. I mean, he was an all-time, big-time sniffer. Okay, so that's where we at. Next, on your next lecture video, we're going to get into leak detection tips. Okay, leak detection tips. That's what we're going to get into. All right, so let's go ahead and do that next.